Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen. And welcome to Dave and Jen Ignite.
Today we're going to be sharing a little bit about listening skills and developing those and some biblical instructions in that regard. So let's start with that. James 1:19, a very, very good verse. It says simply this, Dear brothers and sisters, make note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. I find it challenging to
Really?
Yes, I find it challenging to live that out on a day-to-day basis. Um, I, for one, tend to be quick to speak and far quicker to come to anger than I would like to think. So this verse has this verse has helped me.
I'm not listening anymore.
This verse has helped me. I'm not saying I'm there yet, not at all, but it has helped me. And I think a number of people at the church where we attend,
Yes.
it's been very helpful there. It really has, because listening is just so crucial for the relationships. And so that verse, my dear brothers and sisters, make note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, has been a good guiding principle. So a couple of practical things, some applications, some skills to develop. One is to repeat back to the person, now, did I hear you say, or something to that effect? This is what I heard you say. Are you saying? Just to make sure we understand, because more than once, we've been in a conversation and I will say that or she will say that, and I'll, do I hear you saying?
And I say, that is not even remotely what I said.
Which is amazing. I mean, it is.
It really is.
I mean, we love each other very much. That's not a question.
No.
But we don't hear each other very well sometimes.
And it's not because we don't hear each other. It's because we don't hear each other.
Yes.
You know what we mean.
Yes. Many of you know. So that's something that can be very, very helpful. Very practical application skill that can be developed. You can just, before you answer, just simply ask, now, I think I heard you say, or what I heard you saying was, something along those lines, just to get clarification and make sure you're going to answer what's been spoken about. Another practical thing that I learned fairly recently is just an acronym for the word WAIT. And it simply means, why am I talking?
I love that. I love that. Well, I don't love it, but
it's practical.
It's very practical.
It's a skill, it's an activity that is quite practical in regards to listening. I'm in a leadership position, and so sometimes people expect me to speak, and I do. I have to be careful, though, sometimes to not speak when I need to be listening. And so, why am I talking? Wait. Just wait. Don't have to talk all the time. Don't have to have the last word.
Ooh, you don't?
It's hard. For me, for many people, I think.
For many people, yes.
Just wait. Why am I talking? And I do find, for example, at various meetings of boards, etc., that if I will wait, just wait, oftentimes I don't have to say anything because somebody else is going to come up with that idea. And if they come up with it, it's far better than if I came up with it, because it's theirs.
It's very true.
And there's ownership there. And that's a good thing. It's not a deceitful thing. It's just a wait. Why am I talking? Let someone else talk and let them share their thoughts, because there are good thoughts out there, good people, and we want to listen to them. So those aren't the only verses, but that's a good verse to get us started in regards to listening and developing listening skills.
And there are a lot of verses in the Bible that really do talk about listening to the Lord, listening to one another. And the Lord listens to us, which is really, really cool. He hears our prayers, he listens to us, and of course he speaks to us through his word and through the presence of his Holy Spirit in our hearts too. Another verse that well, I can't say I love the verse, but it is very helpful, is Proverbs 18:13. And it says this in the New International Version: to answer before listening, this is folly and shame. Well, that speaks very well right there, to answer before listening. But now let's listen to the contemporary English version. Oh, this just makes, this is perfect sense, and it's exactly where we live. It's stupid and embarrassing to give an answer before you listen. Oh, yikes. It really is. And we don't realize it sometimes, so we step back and go, oh, I put my foot in my mouth that time. I wish I could just take that back. Or if I had just waited, if I had just listened and not interrupted, not be planning what I'm going to say next before they're even done. It's folly. It's embarrassing. And it's stupid. Scriptures say it.
Yeah. And that whole thing about preparing your answer while the other person is talking, I am so guilty of that on a regular basis. It's not funny. I need God's help to not do that. That's as serious as I can be.
We all do.
Yeah. Because I have a tendency to be ready to come right back at you. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy for relationships.
Right. And it's really difficult because some of us are just geared and wired differently, created by the Lord to be a take charge kind of person. And I do believe it is much more difficult sometimes to sit back and take charge by being quiet. Just like you said in leadership, you learn invaluable information or invaluable insights from other people who have just as much to offer, if not more sometimes, than what we think we do. And to just sit back and listen and let them talk and let them brainstorm and hash things out and come to perhaps a self-realization that is a breakthrough for them, rather than us talking or spewing, just listening.
Yeah. Well, I have a hearing impairment. I wear hearing aids, and it just so happens that I have proof from the doctors that the pitches at which I don't hear are the pitches at which women and children speak.
That was very convenient.
Very.
That's all I'm going to say about that one there, honey.
So just something, if you know somebody, if one of your loved ones is hearing impaired, and obviously I'm able to function in society, the hearing aids do a tremendous bit of help. But here are just a few quick hints about how to make sure that they can hear you. Once again, this part is truly just about being able to hear. One is make sure you're in the same room with them. If you're not in the same room, odds are very, very good they're not going to hear a word you say.
I can vouch for this from experience.
And it's going to be mumbling, etc. Or they just don't hear. It's not that they're trying to be mean or ignore you or anything else. They just don't hear. So be in the same room. And when you're in that same room, make sure they're facing you. I do so much better if Jen and I are facing each other. If she's walking away from me and I'm trying to listen, I'm literally trying to catch up and get beside her so that I can look over and see her and hear her. Part of it is, I don't think I read lips, but it does help. And certainly being at least beside her then can also just help my hearing. Being able to just hear the words being spoken and understand them. There's all things about vowels and consonants and what gets heard at certain pitches and those kinds of things. But these are just practical things. Be in the same room. Make sure you're facing each other, not walking away from the person. Even if they're following you, make sure you're side by side, ideally face to face. And if there is water running in the room or a fan going, if the AC just kicked on and it's a little bit loud, it's basically, I know personally, if water's running, I'm not hearing it. You know, our kitchen and living room are pretty close together. It's open, but if there's water running, I'm not gonna be able to make heads or tails of it, whatever's being said. So it's just not happening.
And those are things that you need to take into consideration, but it's something that has to be learned, because it's not an automatic that I automatically turn and face Dave each time, because heaven forbid that he should miss any little gem of something that would come out of my mouth. I mean, so I just talk and I expect him to be there. No, not really. But it is something that you need to learn and be considerate of.
Yeah.
And I know it's frustrating for him, and it's been a frustration for me as well, but we both had to learn and adapt to that. And I have to be really careful, and I think he does too, because there's a balance of him not hearing me and really not listening.
That's a fair
both
statement.
are appropriate. Just saying.
That's a fair statement. You know, my mind can get distracted, and
Yeah.
she can be speaking, and I can even answer her, and I haven't heard a word.
Does that happen to any of you? Just asking that question. Yeah.
Well, we may need to do a second video on this.
Let's not.
But you might want to hear some more. You know, that might be helpful. Might be helpful. But what about a question for today?
Oh, go ahead. Ask them the question, Dave.
Okay, question for the day. Do you consider yourself a good active listener?
What? Sorry.
Do you consider yourself a good active listener?
Okay.
And if so, what kind of things do you find helpful? Or do you have some tricks? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Do you just have some things you do to help make sure you're a good active listener? And if you say, well, maybe I'm not such a good active listener, then what are the listening skills that you could learn? Maybe it's weight. Maybe it's just some of those, hearing impaired things. Because those would help in regular conversations with people who fully hear.
Yes, very much so.
As well.
Very much so.
Well, if you've enjoyed this video, and remember, we're here to ignite an interest, desire, and action for those who are new or renewed in their walk with Jesus Christ. And we want to do that with faith, family, and fun.
Oh, yes.
So we don't have to work real hard at making sure there's laughter in each video. It's pretty normal stuff.
Yeah.
But that's our intent. So if you've enjoyed this, found this valuable to your life, we would ask that you click like and also subscribe. That would be very, very helpful. And after you're subscribed, you can click the bell up in the corner, and that will make sure that you get some email notice about when new videos come out. So until we see each other again, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen, and thank you so much for joining us. Lord bless.
May it be so.